Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. We have a single box from CJRB, which truthfully, here recently I kind of thought, maybe I'll kind of let the CJRB boxes pile up, right? Unless it's something really interesting, meaning that I would unbox them in a big group instead of one at a time. However, this box has a number of things that are intriguing. Number one, it's heavy, right? It's hard to tell from the camera. Number two, it says that it's in D. I want to show the name of it yet because we all are going to experience it together. It says it's in D2. Now, D2 is not a super interesting blade steel, but within the realm of CJRB and artisan cutlery, it is, because it's used in a budget knife and it is not AR RPM 9, which is fine, but an incredibly boring steel, and CJRB, obviously needs to branch out. This makes me think that it's a different breed of CJRB. It's something different, a little weirder, but almost certainly a budget knife. So whatever it is, I will link it down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. So what do we have? Let's maybe open it up first. Let's remove the sticker there. This box says that it's called the Doubletap. Black D2 blade, black G10 handle. I am curious as to what that means. Oh, it is a large fellow. Oh, do you have the other locking system? Okay, this is interesting. Holy moly. It's a big fella. This is far from a boring CJRB. So this has the CJRB recoil lock. Now, it is, almost certainly, I feel like I can see it in there. I'm 99% certain their recoil lock still uses an Omega spring. But what makes CJRB's recoil lock infinitely more interesting than regular crossbar locks is the fact that they have the tab back here, which allows you to deploy and retract this blade the same way you would a Demco 8020. It's obviously not the same locking system and it's not the same strength, but it is infinitely more interesting, and it allows you another means of manipulation. This is a super robust crossbar lock. Man. So where's the space that it's, what is that? Oh, that's oil. Okay, it's just oil. This is the lock face right there, which truthfully, the right thing to do, you don't want it's probably just like spillover lubrication from the factory. But if you get a brand new knife, you always want to wipe the lubrication and the oil out of the lock face area. Not that I think that a lock like this is going to slip, but especially on something like a frame lock or a liner lock, you do not want oil on that lock face. A lot of people say, oh, well, that's how you fix the lock stick. Bad idea. Very bad idea. It is better to have lock stick than it is to have lubrication on the lock face. What you're doing is increasing the likeliness of disengagement during normal use. So you don't want that. And the same is true, I believe, for almost all locking systems. I imagine that there are some special circumstances where the way that things lock up and slide into place makes maybe the oil not more beneficial, but it doesn't really make any difference. In most cases, though, you do not want any type of lubrication on the lock face itself, either the locking system or the lock face of the blade. But anyways, your engagement zone is right here. It looks like that's just going to keep bleeding over, so we'll have to keep wiping it away. But plenty of engagement there. Very solid. Look how big those thumb studs are. Holy moly. And they have like little collars on them. Like little, it looks like a tank wheel, or well, I guess a tank would use like a, don't tanks have like a conveyor belt, and some models of tanks have like those individual wheels, like if it teeters back and forth? I feel like that's kind of what it reminds me of, right? I'm not a tank expert, I don't know. Heavy duty jimping, very much I think a knife with, like heavy dutiness in mind. I'm looking at these, and initially I'm wondering, is that a big tritium slot? And I don't know. And here's why. It's because the tritium would stick out a little bit. It wouldn't be perfectly flush if you were to glue it in there. And then I don't know if it would properly pass beneath the scale. Maybe it would. I'm not really sure. I don't know what that would be for otherwise. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a large tritium slot. But anyways, we have a big bright orange backspacer, which in this case is a little of an odd contrast with the olive green on the pivot collar and the stud collars. But with a knife that's all black, I mean, I don't know, maybe it makes it a little bit easier to see. Like I was saying, D2 is obviously not a new steel or an interesting steel. In fact, many people just list it as a boring steel. What people forget is that D2 has a lot of the preferences, or a lot of the elements that are preferential for people who are interested in knives. D2, for example, as I have stated many times, is not a stainless steel, but it is very, very close to a stainless steel. It also has pretty darn good toughness, and the edge retention, especially when heat treated properly, will absolutely annihilate the vast majority of other steels offered in the same competitive price point, right? Occasionally you get a weird Magna Cutter 20 CV blade that falls, to the sub $100 category, but I'm not sure that I trust how those are heat treated. D2 largely does have some of the most preferable elements as far as the, a composition, right? 14C28N usually seems to win the award for most preferential steel. That is a balance that favors toughness over everything and not edge retention. So if you are more of an edge retention person, and I say this mostly to new people, right, who just sort of blindly follow whatever everybody else is saying, I've been there, I understand it, and in many ways I still do it, right? But if you're a newer person and you're like, well, I favor edge retention and I'm on a budget, right around $50, D2 steel is going to be the steel for you, unless you absolutely must have a steel that's truly stainless. D2 is only 12% or so chromium, with the line being 14% with a certain ratio with carbon, and I always forget what it is, right? But D2 is very, very close. So unless you absolutely must have a stainless steel, if your preferences lean more towards edge retention, D2 is going to be the way to go. And that's going to be the better steel for you over pretty much anything else of the same territory. Now, this is a bigger knife, a chunkier boy, and it has the recoil lock. It won't surprise me at all if CJRB wants $60 or $70 for this thing. I would be surprised to find out that it is over $75. It is if it's 80 plus, especially. This absolutely should still be a budget knife, and by budget knife I mean under $75. But I don't expect this to be like $40 or even $50, right? Realistically, I think that this knife should fall somewhere between $60 and $70, and anything around or below that obviously is better. Medium texturing looks like it's going to be super crazy grippy. We have the Medford ovals, as I like to call them, sarcastically. Huge cutting belly. So pretty thick up here. I'd say at least 165 thousandths. Nearly fully flat ground, super curvy, heavy belly blade. Honestly, pretty cool, pretty good looking, very, very comfortable. Nice lock-in both in the standard hammer grip and the choked up position. The addition of the recoil lock is actually really awesome. I think, these crossbar locks, like the addition of something like the recoil lock, just makes them infinitely more interesting, right? I mean, we have so many crossbar locks out there, and it's great that they're so accessible and that they're strong enough and easy to manipulate, right? I don't love Omega Springs, obviously, but we see them so often. CJRB's recoil lock, in my opinion, should be on pretty much all of their. They should make a version of it like this, all of their crossbar lock knives, because it does allow their system to stand out amongst the sea of other, recoil locks that are out there. So this is pretty cool. It's a big boy, though. I'll go ahead and measure it for you, and then we'll weigh it. And that'll be it for first impressions. Today's video is, of course, not a review. It's just unboxing first impressions. This thing is huge. It's 9 inches. Maybe just shy. Blade length 3.85, cutting edge 3.65. Big boy. Weight, G10, some steel on the internals, and a big chunky D2 blade. That's ounces. We don't want that. 8.6 ounces. This is a big boy. Okay. You'll get a full review on this one. It is definitely an interesting knife. That's going to be it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.